It is getting rough out there, friends, with grocery prices, and now that I have 2 kids moved out, just starting their kitchen experience, I'm reminded how important it is to have these skills of being able to grocery shop on a budget and figure out what in the world you're going to eat that week. Can we live on $30 for an entire week from Walmart, starting from almost scratch? So for my 2 grown adult moved out children, this one's for you. For the first week of my 18-year-old son's living in his own apartment, he lived off of frozen waffles and sandwiches for every meal. Now that we're a few more weeks into that, he has branched out a little bit. So for lunches every day, he does chicken on rice with some kind of sauce. That's his lunch every single day. And he has a fairly limited budget. He has $60 a week for groceries and some toiletries sometimes, which is pretty small. So I thought I would take $30 and figure out what we could do with my son in mind. He does not have a dishwasher, so he does not want to do a ton of dishes, and he's busy. He is not going to be making homemade bread. He is not going to be cooking dinner every night. He wants grab and go, maybe one batch of something, eat it all week kind of a situation. So I headed to Walmart to see what I could find. My friends, it is challenging. I ended up with all of these items for $31 for the week for one person. I am, of course, assuming that you have salt and pepper and a fat of some kind. And this was accurate in both my son and daughter when they moved out because they got roommates. And the roommates already had salt and pepper and like a cooking oil. So we were good. Without further ado, let's get cooking. Now, the second I get home from the grocery store, I need to prep 2 items, and they are my ground turkey. This is less than $2 at Walmart for 1 pound of ground turkey. It comes frozen. So you can buy a couple of them, and this is so much cheaper than the ground beef that you will be buying at Walmart, which is $5, $6, almost $7 a pound, depending on what you're purchasing. So all I'm gonna do with this is pop it on a plate and let it start thawing so I can actually cook with it. Set that to the side. Next up, I did buy dried pinto beans. You don't have to, you can buy canned, but you also need a can opener if you buy canned. And not all new move outs have things like a can opener and a vegetable peeler, which I noticed when we set up my daughter's kitchen recently. Budget-wise, you can't do much better than the dried bean. The whole thing, boom, into here. I'm doing a quick check for stones. Like sometimes there's little rocks. This one actually looks very clean. And you don't have to do pinto, you can do whichever one you want, but I like pinto because it gets very creamy and mild tasting. Okay, now we're gonna cover this with cold water. You'll notice I've covered it with several inches on top of water. You want room for these to absorb the water and set it to the side. You can let this sit and soak for up to 24 hours just on the countertop. And in a matter of 30 seconds, I have prepped my hard ingredients. Now friends, before we get into too much of the cooking, yes, I am making this video for like new move outs and with my older 2 children in mind. However, these tips can work for pretty much everybody. I know for me, I am shocked when I go to the grocery store and I see your cheapest ground beef is over $5 a pound. I see the store brand of oats, the big tub, over $4 now. This yogurt that I used to always buy for $2, almost $3. The cheapest bread you can find used to be under $1. Now, this was the cheapest one I could find. It's $1.48. Some of them are like $1.80 for like Walmart, like cheapy bread. It's just insane. And I think we can agree it's not just food. The one that really grinds my gears with as many drivers as I have is my car insurance as well. I think we can use any tip possible to save money wherever we can in this moment. So today I am very excited to share with you my sponsor that could help you with your car insurance rates. SoFi has partnered with me on today's video. Let me tell you about them real quick. Did you know that there is a 57% chance that you are overpaying for car insurance, especially if you haven't checked rates in the last 6 months to a year? Well, today's sponsor, SoFi, is here to help. Competitive quotes from different providers could help you save up to $828 per year on average. I mean, someone's handing me $800, I will take it. Which is why I'm super excited to announce that SoFi has actually teamed up with Experian to offer an easy and efficient way to look at all of your options. It can be really challenging and not to mention overwhelming to go to this car insurance company and this car insurance company and this car insurance company to try and compare like rates and options and it's just too much. But with SoFi, you can see all of your options in one place. This is particularly important to me because my car insurance needs have changed drastically over the last couple of years. I have to pay car insurance on me, my husband, my 21-year-old daughter, my 18-year-old son, and my 16-year-old son. And let me tell you what, the two sons, oh my gosh, the two sons have bumped my car insurance rates. You don't even want to know what I pay for car insurance. Before I started researching options and checking into SoFi, it was $500 a month, which is completely crazy pants because my cars are old. So I knew for a fact I was overpaying because I hadn't checked rates in a minute, and that's what SoFi is here to help you with. Here's how it works. You answer just a couple of questions about your vehicles and needs. You'll see offers from up to 30 insurers to see the best rate, and then pick your favorite. I want you to save as much money as possible, and unfortunately, car insurance is one of the things that we have to do no matter what. So to see how much you could save, head over to sofi.com/frugalfitmom. It is the first link down in the doobly-doo below, or you can click this QR code like right here so you can compare rates. That's sofi.com/frugalfitmom. First link in the bloop, QR code there. Thank you to SoFi. Let's get back to the rest of the video. Breakfast. Would it have been cheaper per ounce if I had purchased the non-flavored tub of oats? Absolutely. However, I am thinking busy college kids.
I'm sorry, I'm really busy, yeah.
But with this, we have a nice base. And because I got the bulk 20 pack, this is gonna last us for 2 to 3 weeks easily, which means we are not going to have to buy more oatmeal for several weeks, leaving room in our budget next week for more variety. I love these because they have a fill line on the back. You don't even need measuring cups here. All right, fill to the line with water. I'm actually going quite a bit over the line because of the items I am adding, and I like to cook it just a hair longer than normal. It really makes it feel like you're eating quite a bit. Microwave time. Here's our oatmeal, and it's really hot. That's just why I have it on this. Next up, we're going to doctor it up with some of this peanut butter. Peanut butter is extremely high in calories and fat and moderate in protein, which means it's going to make you feel full for quite a long time. So 1 serving is 2 tablespoons. Go ahead and stir that in until it's all melty and delicious. And then we're gonna add a sliced banana. Now it's got this like cinnamon peanut butter banana situation that is going to be incredibly satisfying. And when it comes, I'm gonna do maybe half the banana. And then if you leave the banana in the peel, you can eat the other half at lunch. So depending on the size of the banana, this could be anywhere from an additional, I don't know, 75 calories to 100 calories for half of a banana. So with 1 oatmeal packet, the peanut butter and banana, we're sitting at 400, ouch. Man, it's too hot. We are sitting at 450 calories and 11 grams of protein for this super quick breakfast. If you did 2 oatmeal packets, we would bump it up to 510 calories and 15 grams of protein. Bon appetit. Breakfast option number 2. If you wanted to save money, you could have just bought like 1 cup, 1 or 2 cups. And I'm gonna show you something that's gonna look completely insane, but it will be delicious, I promise. What I love about these Dan and Light and Fit knockoffs from Great Value is the macros cannot be beat. It's 80 calories and 13 grams of protein in one little guy. So if you're really looking to bulk up your protein, you can double these up and add your mixed fruit on top. How easy is this? You're not even cooking anything. So you don't need a recipe for that one. So instead, what I'm gonna show you, we're going to doctor up the oatmeal and yogurt together. Hold on to your horses.
Why don't you go and put your trousers on?
All right, hold your horses.
So obviously we do have to cook the oatmeal. This time I am going right up to the line. There we go. 1 minute in the microwave. And in another bowl, we'll add our 1 cup of yogurt. Now I have peach yogurt because I like peach yogurt. You could do vanilla and doctor the flavor up any way you like. And yes, the tub will be cheaper than the cups. I just didn't do that today because it totally blew my budget. To our yogurt, we're then adding the cooked oatmeal. What? We have just turned our peach yogurt into a peach brown sugar cinnamon crumble or cobbler or crisp. So now we've got like cold yogurt, hot oatmeal. Oh my gosh, this is the most delicious thing you've ever tried. And what's crazy are the macros. This is only 240 calories and 17 grams of protein right here. Of course, we can bulk it up with some more fruit on top if you happen to have it around, or you can eat it just like this. And the best part, it took less than 2 minutes to put together. Lunchtime, and what I know about my two kids is they're either at work or school and they're not running home for lunch. So it's a pack your lunchtime, and we're gonna bust it out with some sandwiches.
Sandwiches!
PB&J style, nice and easy with sides. We can do a side of banana, a side of sliced cucumber, a side of sliced carrot. We're gonna do veggies and fruit on the side of our PB&J sandwiches. Every loaf of bread is going to give you a minimum of 9 sandwiches, which means some days you can do more than one if you would like to, but you don't have to. And I know we didn't buy ranch dressing, but I always seem to have some of these packets like hanging out in the fridge. Like I've got this buttermilk ranch, I've got ghost pepper ranch. I don't know what, I probably wouldn't dip cucumber into barbecue, but I could mix the barbecue and ranch, and then I would come up with a couple. I could mix the Cholula and ranch and have like a nice spicy ranch to dip all my veggies in for the week. We are going to be cooking up 2 dinners this week, and we're starting with the pasta. Now, obviously this is a 2-pound container of pasta. I'm only gonna use half, which leaves me with another pound for next week. Ideally, this will feed someone 4 meals. Okay, in a warm pan, we are going to throw in whatever cooking fat you have. I'm just using some oil here, like this. 1 diced onion, like this. We're just gonna get this a little softened, just a hint of salt. This is a very large pan because I'm gonna mix my sauce and pasta all in this one pan, and I want to flavor every layer that I'm putting in here. So a little bit of salt, tiny bit of pepper, and yeah, this is 1 whole onion. Look, it doesn't look like very much, does it? Okay, these have a little bit of color on them, so I'm gonna kind of push them off to the side, and we'll add 2 more things. So I have 3 large cloves of garlic coming in here on top of the onions. Okay, now that we are at this point, everything is cooked, bring it all together, and I'm gonna add my tomato sauce. So here I have most of the tomato paste that I diluted with about 2 cups of water, and 1 cube of chicken bouillon into 1 cup of water here. And again, I'm gonna season with salt, a little bit of pepper, and if you're lucky, you might have some Italian seasoning hanging around, or your roommate will. I actually don't know if I have any. I don't have any. I do have a little bit of basil left over, so let's throw some of that in there. That feels like a good plan. And I'm gonna let that come to a simmer while I cook up my noodles. For my pasta, I will use half of this 2-pound container. And I wanna talk about the protein pasta that everybody is pretty excited about. So let's just talk about the facts. And this is just the regular cheap budget pasta, is 7 grams of protein. And the Protein Plus pasta has 10 grams of protein. So it's only 3 grams more per 2-ounce serving. I don't know anybody that stays with 2 ounces. Most people do 4. When you cook a box of pasta, how many servings comes out of it? 4, 6, probably 4, right? So you're already getting like 14 grams of protein out of just regular pasta for a much cheaper price. So yes, it has slightly more protein, but you would add a ton more protein just by adding like canned tuna or a little bit of chicken and not paying the premium for the more expensive marketing of the other box. Okay, my water is boiling. I'm gonna do a hefty pinch of salt because that's gonna season the pasta itself, and half the box is going in. And I have cooked it al dente because I actually want it to soak up the sauce a little bit. And I did save some pasta water just in case it felt a little thin, which right now it actually doesn't look thin at all. And because I don't have any cheese, because we couldn't afford it this week, I am gonna add some creaminess with, I'm gonna add some of this sour cream that I bought. And then I'm actually just gonna turn the heat off and let this sit in the pan for, I don't know, 10 minutes or so. And remember, I'm gonna try and eat this for 4 meals. Each serving of this pasta is gonna have 625 calories and 30 grams of protein. This is 2 servings. Remember, I'm trying to divvy this into 4. So it's actually is actually a good amount in that bowl. And remember, I do have some frozen green beans. You can get whatever frozen veggies you like. For me, I'm actually gonna save my green beans for a soup we're making in a couple of days. Oh my gosh, this is so good. This is so good. I would happily eat this for 4 dinners. Oh my gosh. Or 3, if you wanna do it that way. Next up, let's make soup. I have my soaked beans, soaked and rinsed, and they got absolutely enormous. You can also do this in a crock pot, on a pot on the stove. It does not have to be an Instant Pot. You just basically cover it with water and let it cook until the beans are soft. The secret to making these well is to make sure you give them enough water. I have 8 cups of water in there. Yeah, that's probably maybe too much, but too much is better than too little. You can add salt at this point or chicken stock, but I'm gonna leave it because I will season it later. For the Instant Pot, it's just so easy. You can grab these at thrift stores now because people are getting rid of them. So I just make sure that it's sealed up here. I think I have a bean button. Yeah, there's a bean button right there. And I'm just gonna wait until it's finished. Let's get crack-a-lackin' on our throw everything in a pot soup. Soups are super easy to make. You can add whatever ingredients you want, and it can feed a crowd on a budget. It's gonna be your best friend. So I am starting with whatever cooking oil or fat that you have hanging around in a hot soup pan. And I'm getting it started with my other onion, and I did have a few extra carrots that I'm going to throw in there and get started. Quick pinch of salt, and we'll let those go for just a few minutes until they're slightly soft. Now that our carrots and onion are cooked down a little bit, I'm gonna come in with my garlic, and this will not stay in here for very long. I just want to get it warmed through kind of. You do not want your garlic to turn brown. The best thing about buying onions and garlic for budget cooking is they're super cheap, they add a ton of flavor, and they're so versatile. I'm coming in with my bag of frozen vegetables. I have green beans, you could use broccoli, peas, whatever it is that you like. And I'm gonna come in here with my next round of flavor. So I'm starting it with water. I have 8 cups in this measuring cup. So this is 8 cups of water. I'm coming in with my chicken bouillon cubes. And 1 cube is supposed to go in 2 cups of water. So I will add 4 cubes of bouillon to get my flavors coming together. Also coming in with a little bit of black pepper. And as this comes to a boil, all these bouillon cubes will disintegrate and meld into the pot. So we just wanna bring this up, let it simmer for, I don't know, 10 minutes or so. Don't worry, we're gonna add a ton more stuff. I did keep about 1 tablespoon of my tomato paste that I've been storing in the fridge. I'll add that as well. Now that everything's dissolved and my carrots are soft, I'm coming in with the rest of my ingredients. I have only half of the pinto beans that I cooked. I kind of overdid them a little bit. You can kind of see here because they're a little squishy, but softer is better than not soft. I do have the rest of it sitting over here on the side. I can add it or I might leave it out. I'm just gonna wait and see how it goes. I'm coming in also with the zucchini that I bought. You don't have to use zucchini. If you prefer lentils instead of pinto beans, use that. You know, mix and match however you see fit. I happen to like almost all beans and almost all vegetables. And I want this to kind of simmer and come together. I am going to add my kale as soon as my zucchini is cooked. I love kale in applications like this instead of spinach. I find the texture to be much more pleasing for myself. And because I did add more ingredients and I haven't seasoned these beans at all, I am coming in with another pinch of salt and a little sprinkle of pepper again. Simmer this for maybe 5 minutes until the zucchini is hot, and then I may add all of the beans in here. The beans are kind of like my substitute for protein in this dish. I could also add some of my pasta that I had left over from my pasta dish that's kind of hanging around. That might bulk it up a little bit and make it really delicious. So I'm just gonna add like 1 cup of the pasta because I do want to use the rest of it for next week. So pasta's going in just to bulk it up a hair. My pasta is almost completely there. I tasted the broth. It is awesome. So I'm going to leave only half of the beans in here and come in with all of my kale. This is gonna wilt down to basically nothing. So even if it looks like a lot, it kind of won't be a lot. I will just simmer this for another few minutes to all come together, and then we are going to plate. To go with my soup, you don't have to do this, but I had some leftover bread from the bread I got this week. I have a warm pan going here, and I'm gonna do some toasted bread to go on the side. You could do this in a toaster or in the oven if you like. I'm a student on this pan, so I have my just a touch of oil here, and I do want my oil to be warm, kind of grilled cheese style, honestly, until it gets nice and crispy, and this will go alongside my soup, kind of like a homemade crouton situation. Okay, I'm flipping, woo, and I want to do just a sprinkle of salt right on the flip, so it'll stick. There's a little bit of oil still in here, so hopefully I can toast the other side. Here is my completed soup. There is definitely enough for 4 full servings. This is 3.5 cups of soup right here with all of the vegetables, the pasta, the beans. I tasted it. And then when we add our bread, we actually take the calorie count and protein count up a significant amount. So each bowl of soup is sitting at around 15 grams of protein. I bet this is not even 500 calories. So if you want to divvy this into like 3 meals instead of 2, feel free. Bon appetit. Okay, at the end of the week, I do have some items that are left over. So I have a little bit less than half the box of pasta, over half the box of the oatmeal. Like, I only use 7, so I have 13 left in here. That's like 2 whole more weeks of oatmeal, which is amazing. The peanut butter and jam, obviously not gonna go through that in a week. More than half of our Bullion cubes, sour cream, and half of our pinto beans that we already cooked. So I've divvied these into 2 bags that I'm gonna stick in the freezer. These are essentially 1 can of beans each. So if I don't wanna do beans next week, I don't have to. I can set them aside and use them in a few weeks from now. So when I do my grocery shopping for next week, I'm not starting from scratch anymore. I do have a few items to get me going. So if you would like me to do a week 2 and continue this series, why don't you subscribe to the channel? It's completely free, and you can give me a thumbs up if you haven't done that yet. It's fun. Do it for glory.
What does the button do? Press it! Press it for glory!
I will have the shopping list that I used for today's video down in the doobly-doo below. Thanks for hanging out with me. We'll see you next time. Bye. But wait, there's more. So in my research to do this video for you guys, I decided who better to talk to than my 2 kids who have moved out, them and their roommates, and find out what the kids are actually doing these days. My daughter and her roommates, this is what they have for breakfast every single day. This is real life. Cereal, and then some combo of like oatmeal, yogurt, and granola, drop of toast, a little butter jam, done. Like, it is easy. My son does oatmeal for breakfast almost every single morning. You might be wondering, like, I could have gone so much further in the budget if I had done certain things that I have done in previous budget videos. I'll leave a few of those down below. My homemade artisan bread, no knead bread, 4 ingredients is awesome. However, I know for a fact my 18-year-old son is not making homemade bread. I doubt my daughter will be making homemade bread. We're just gonna skip those more labor-intensive budget hacks. So if you have the time and you wanna do homemade bread, fantastic. If you wanna do homemade tortillas, because they're so freaking cheap, go ahead and do that. I just know that for this age range, they usually don't have the time, and they don't, like, I know they're just not going to. So it makes more sense to approach it in a way of what are they going to do that I can help them with. If you have go-to budget-friendly, easy like breakfast and lunches and dinners, go ahead and leave those in the comments below to help out other people. I'll see you next time. Happy eating.